Number 6 tells us to use cross products to solve the proportion x over 9 equals 19 over 57. Show all of our work. So it's nice that it tells us exactly what process to use. It's our cross products or the dance method if you would prefer to use that. So I'm going to write that on there so we don't forget. So I'm going to reset up this proportion. X over 9 equals 19 over 57. I'm going to do my cross product, my shoelace method there. X times 57, 57x. We have to make sure we keep that equal sign there. That's very important. And then 9 times 19 is 171. So now my next step, I have 57x equals 171. So we want to get x all by itself, so we divide both sides by 57. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Those 57s cancel out, and we're left with x equals 171 divided by 57. So if we needed to do our work to the side, 171 would go on the inside, top dog in the house there, 57 on the outside. And we end up with our x equaling 3. So we have x equals 3 for our answer there. Now, moving on to customary units. This will be on your test, so you don't have to fully memorize this table, but you should be pretty familiar with it. So we have length, weight, and capacity. So when we're deciding which unit to use, make sure we're thinking about those three first, determining which one would be the most appropriate. So for number 7, it asks us to convert 28 pints to quarts. So we're always going to start with this first given over our variable. So we're given 28 pints over x. We're going to put that equal sign there since we're setting up a proportion. Now we want to find quarts and pints, that relationship expressed in our table above. So we're going to find pints and quarts. Ends up being right here. 2 pints equals 1 quart. So we want to make sure that we keep pints on the same level of our proportion, and same thing with quarts. So pints in the numerator on the left side, so pints are going to be on the numerator on the right side. So 2 pints here over 1 quart. Now this looks pretty similar to when we solve just regular proportions. So again, we're going to do our cross product or our dance method. 28 times 1 is 28. We have to make sure, again, keep that equal sign. That's very important. Equals 2x. Now again, we want to solve for x, so we're going to divide both sides by 2. Those 2 cancel out, and our x equals 14. But for our final answer, we want to state this in a statement. I'm going to write a sentence for this. So we're going to start 28 pints is 14 quarts. And we're done with that one there. That's our final answer. Now looking down at number 8, it says convert 15,840 feet to miles. So again, we're going to start with our given. 15,840 feet for x over our variable equals. Now we're going to find the relationship between feet to miles. So we're going to look at length here, and we see 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. So again, we're keeping feet on the same level, miles on the same level. So we're going to have 5,280 feet over 1 mile. So we have our proportion set up, and it's called a proportion because we have that equal sign in the middle. We're going to do our cross product. 15,840 times 1 is still 15,840. Keep that equal sign there, and 5,280 times x is just 5,280x. Now again, we want to solve for our x, so we divide both sides by what's connected to our variable, which is 5,280. Those 5,280s cancel out on the right side, and we're left with 15,840 divided by 5,280. So again, we have top dog in the house, 15,840, 5,280 on the outside, and we end up getting a nice even number of 3. So our x equals 3, but again, we need to make sure we put a statement for our final answer. So we would write 15,000 840 feet is 3 miles. I want to make sure we put that statement there so we're using our correct units and we're labeling our answer, because x equals 14 or x equals 3 there doesn't really have a meaning. So when we put that unit on there, we know what we actually found. So now the last few problems are talking about similarity. So number 9 asks us to tell whether parallelogram ABCD and parallelogram WXYZ are similar. The measures of the corresponding angles are equal and opposite sides are equal. Those are all important pieces of information we need to know. So what we're first going to do is actually decide which sides are corresponding, which lengths, since we're given lengths of sides here. So side AB right here actually corresponds to side WX. So we're going to set up a nice proportion here. Equals side BC corresponds to side XY. So we're going to have BC here and XY on the denominator. Now, once we have that proportion set up, we're actually going to take the values of those sides and plug those back into the proportion we set up. So instead of letters here, we're going to have numbers. So side AB is 20, side WX is 15, and we get that from our picture given to us. Side BC is 14, and side XY is 9. Now, to determine whether or not they are similar, we're going to actually simplify our ratios here. So 20 over 15, we can actually divide by 5 here. And we end up getting 4/3. And 14/9 we actually cannot simplify any. So we're going to have 14/9 down here. And since they do not equal the same proportion, we end up determining that these are not similar. So these two parallelograms are not similar. Now, a good way to check this as well is to actually do our cross product here to make sure we didn't do anything wrong, double checking our work. So 4 times 9 is 36. And we're going to see if it equals 14 times 3, which is 42. So that right there tells us we are correct that they are not similar. Now, our last problem, I'm going to have to do this on a little bit on the next page. Triangle ABC, so that the symbol right here means triangle. Triangle ABC is similar. That one little swirly line there, it looks like a sideways S, stands for similar, is similar to triangle XYZ. Find side XY and show all of our work. So again, we're going to see which sides, we're going to set up a proportion again. We're going to see which sides are are corresponding to one another. So we have side AC corresponds to side XZ. I'm going to set up AC and XZ. We're going to put that equal to side AB and XY, which we don't know, so I'm going to name that X. Now again, we're going to plug in what we know here. Side AC, and we're getting this just from the picture that's given to us. Side AC is 22, and this should be in feet, so we're going to keep feet there just so we remember. And side XZ is 5 5/10 feet, 5.5 feet, equaling side AB is 20 feet, and side XY we don't know, so we're going to put X feet there. So to solve, again, we're going to do our cross product here, or our dance method, whichever one. So 22 times X is 22X equals 20 times 5.5, which ends up being 110. So to solve for our X, we're going to divide both sides by what's connected to that variable, which in this case is 22. So these 22's here cancel, and I'm left with X equals 110 divided by 22. So 110 goes inside our division house, 22 goes on the outside, and we end up getting X equals 5. So we take that number there, put it back into a sentence and say the missing side is The missing side is 5 feet long. And we're done with that problem there. So this is the end of our study guide. Make sure you ask any clarifying questions if you need to. Check over your work, and good luck on your test.